Before the flood, when the nascent world teemed with both wonder and burgeoning corruption, a shadow fell upon the face of the earth. It was the age of giants, the era of the Nephilim, offspring of a forbidden union between celestial beings and mortal women. And at the forefront of this towering race, a figure of immense power and conflicted ambition held sway, Semjaza, their chief. Today we delve deep into his story, a story etched in the cryptic verses of ancient texts, a chronicle of descent, dominion, and the dawn of an age consumed by unnatural might. Prepare to witness the reign of Semjaza, the leader of the Nephilim, a force that would forever alter the destiny of humankind. Semjaza was not merely the first among equals. He was the orchestrator, the one who, according to some accounts, first conceived of the Watcher's descent. Drawn by the allure of human beauty and perhaps harboring a rebellious streak against the divine order, Semjaza is depicted as the instigator, the one who rallied his fellow celestial observers to abandon their posts and transgress the boundaries set by the Almighty. His charisma, coupled with a persuasive promise of earthly pleasure and a taste of dominion, swayed hundreds of his brethren to follow his perilous path. Upon their descent, these watchers, led by Semjaza, did not simply cohabitate with women. The Book of Enoch details a more profound and ultimately destructive interaction. Semjaza and the other fallen angels under his command imparted forbidden knowledge to humanity. They revealed the secrets of metallurgy, the crafting of weapons of war, the art of cosmetics, and the knowledge of occult practices. These were not gifts of enlightenment, but tools that accelerated humanity's descent into violence, vanity, and a departure from the simple, divinely intended way of life. Under Semjaza's leadership, the Nephilim, their monstrous offspring, rose to prominence. These giants, possessing the unnatural strength and vitality born from the union of celestial and mortal blood, quickly asserted their dominance over humankind. They were not content with the natural resources of the earth. Their appetites were insatiable, their demands tyrannical. Semjaza, as their chief, likely established a hierarchical structure among them, ensuring their control and facilitating their exploitation of the burgeoning human population. The reign of Semjaza and the Nephilim was marked by widespread violence and injustice. The giants consumed the fruits of human labor, devouring livestock and crops in quantities that led to famine and despair among humankind. They enslaved and oppressed, their immense strength rendering any human resistance futile. The earth, once intended as a garden, began to groan under the weight of their unnatural presence and the suffering they inflicted. Semjaza himself, beyond orchestrating the initial transgression and establishing the Nephilim's dominance, is portrayed as a figure who reveled in his newfound power and the influence he wielded over both the fallen watchers and their giant offspring. He likely established strongholds and exerted his authority, creating a new, terrifying world order where the laws of both heaven and earth were disregarded. His reign was a direct challenge to the sovereignty of God, a blatant disregard for the divine boundaries that had been established. The Book of Enoch hints at the specific regions and activities under Semjaza's control, though details remain fragmented and shrouded in ancient mystery. It speaks of the fallen watchers establishing themselves in various locations, and Semjaza, as their leader, likely oversaw their overall operations and the propagation of their unnatural lineage. His influence would have been pervasive, shaping the culture and the very landscape of the pre-flood world. Yet even in his position of immense power, it is possible to imagine a degree of internal conflict within Semjaza. He was, after all, a being who had once resided in the celestial realms, a witness to the glory of God. The memory of that former existence, the stark contrast between the divine harmony and the chaotic, corrupted world he now ruled, may have sown seeds of unease within his immortal heart. However, the allure of earthly power and the bonds forged with his fellow transgressors likely overshadowed any lingering remorse. The cries of humanity, oppressed and suffering under the tyranny of the Nephilim and the corrupting influence of the fallen watchers, led by Semjaza, eventually reached the heavens. God, beholding the extent of the wickedness that had taken root, knew that a decisive intervention was necessary to cleanse the earth and restore the balance of creation. The reign of Semjaza, the chief of the Nephilim, had sown the seeds of a destruction that would soon engulf the entire world. The whispers of divine judgment, once faint, began to echo across the land. Subtle shifts in the natural order, perhaps unusual storms or a growing unease among the animal kingdom, hinted at the impending reckoning. Yet, Semjaza, entrenched in his dominion and surrounded by the seemingly invincible might of the Nephilim, remained defiant, blind to the gathering storm. He likely saw these omens as mere fluctuations of the earthly realm, insignificant against the power he and his offspring now wielded. His focus remained on consolidating his authority, perhaps even seeking to expand his influence further, to solidify the Nephilim's reign as an unshakable reality. He might have commissioned the construction of even more formidable strongholds, monuments to their power and defiance of the celestial order. The forbidden knowledge imparted to humanity continued to spread, further corrupting their hearts and minds, creating a world increasingly mirroring the darkness that had taken root in the heavens. But the patience of the divine has its limits. The cries of the oppressed, the perversion of creation, the blatant disregard for the established boundaries, all had reached a tipping point. The decree had been made, the instrument of cleansing prepared. Noah, guided by divine instruction, had completed his ark, a beacon of hope amidst a world hurtling towards destruction. As the waters began to rise, a slow, insidious creep at first, the arrogance of Semjaza and the Nephilim likely turned to confusion, then to terror. Their immense strength, their unnatural vitality, proved useless against the overwhelming power of a world unleashed. The foundations of their dominion, built on transgression and sustained by violence, were washed away by the relentless tide. The reign of Semjaza, the chief of the Nephilim, a reign that had cast a long shadow over the early world, ended not with a defiant battle, but with the drowning cries of giants swallowed by the very world they had sought to dominate. His ambition, his rebellion, his establishment of a terrifying new order, all were erased by the cleansing flood, a stark testament to the ultimate sovereignty of the Creator. The memory of the Nephilim would become a chilling legend, a whisper of a time when the lines between heaven and earth were dangerously blurred and the consequences were cataclysmic. This account of Semjaza and the age of the Nephilim offers a glimpse into a dramatic and often terrifying chapter of ancient history, a story of forbidden knowledge, unchecked power, and divine judgment. It serves as a potent reminder of the delicate balance of creation and the consequences of those who seek to defy the established order. If this exploration into the rise and fall of Semjaza and the Nephilim has captivated your imagination and left you pondering the mysteries of the antediluvian world, then we encourage you to delve deeper into these fascinating narratives. Please like this video if you found this journey into the age of giants thought-provoking and compelling. Your engagement helps us share these often overlooked stories with a wider audience. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of ancient texts, biblical mysteries, and the hidden histories that lie within the scriptures. Look out for our next video as we continue to unravel the enigmatic tales of the past and seek a greater understanding of the forces that have shaped our world. Share your thoughts and insights on Semjaza and the Nephilim in the comments below.